All right, seeing a number of people here. So we're going to kick it off. Uh, Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin, and I am the CEO here at Multiple. I want to officially welcome you to Multiple's Batch 5 Demo Day. I'm really excited you're here with us. Whether you're a family member, a founder, investor, maybe just a member of the community, it means a lot that you're taking the time to lean into this space with us. Now, I officially stepped into this role about a year ago, and I wanted to start today by sharing where we've come in that time. So, over the last year, we've accelerated 17 companies, all of whom are building a better world for autistic people and the families who love them. Now, these companies have touched tens of thousands of families through the products and services that they're building, and we've helped these founders raise millions of dollars. That's a lot packed into the last 12 months. And the thing that I keep coming back to is that this just feels like the beginning of Multiple's journey. Now, none of this has been a solo act. Multiple is a small team, but I'm really proud of the people behind the work. Kate, who's been the backbone of our programs and founder experience, she's really the one who makes sure the cohort feels supported, held, and pushed in the right ways. We've got John, who's been helping us think deeply about investing and how we build financial pathways for the companies that we support. And of course, we've got Dan, who many of you know. He's the original spark behind Multiple and the reason that much of this exists at all. You'll hear from Dan in just a moment, but I wanted to showcase our team up front because what you're seeing today is really the product of their work. I'd also like to take this moment to thank our partners and sponsors who are really the ones who make a lot of this work possible, especially this year. So eBay, Truist, SOSV, Brian Jacobs with Moai Capital, our founding 50 members, all of them have stepped up in a meaningful way to support this cohort and the broader vision of autism and neurodiversity innovation. Their backing has helped us run this program and support founders at early stages who are building all of the infrastructure in this space. So, a huge thank you to them. Now, for the reason we're all here, let's talk about the cohort. What I've seen this year, especially with this cohort, is that these aren't abstract startups looking for a problem. These are people who are autistic themselves, their parents or loved ones who are deeply connected in the space, or they've spent years shoulder to shoulder with autistic kids and adults. They've lived the friction firsthand. And instead of just accepting that, they decided to build solutions to it. So in the last year, I've watched them launch pilots that we didn't think were possible, get real traction with schools, clinics, and families, and even make the kind of progress that's made me wonder why these tools haven't existed for the last 5 years. So it's a privilege and honor to be a small part of their journey these last few months. So how I want to end sort of my opening here is just with a simple ask. Lean in. If you're an investor who's listening, look for places where you can not only write a check, but open doors. If you're a potential customer, reach out. Early revenue is probably the most powerful thing for companies at this stage. If you're a founder or operator, just pay attention to these companies because they're going to show you what's possible if you do decide to build in this space. So on behalf of the Multiple team, our founders, thank you for giving us the attention today, and helping us build the future of autism tech. Now, with that, I'd love to hand it over to Dan, our founder, board chair, and he's the one who can share more about our backstory and why this work is so important. Dan, over to you.
Thanks, Kevin. And thanks, everybody, for being here. You could be anywhere, but you choose to be here, focused in building a better future for autistic people, families, our community, everybody that we all dearly love. When my son was diagnosed back with autism in 1995, so think back. I'm not sure everybody that's here today was, I guess some people weren't born then, I guess, some of the 20-year-olds, but my guy is 32. And the world we stepped into, felt like a desert. Frankly, it was a desert. And there were so few therapists and pockets of support, and there certainly was no oasis, no connected ecosystem. And so, like many of you, we started improvising. And over time, in building Teach Town and funding multiple, I realized something really important that keeps getting reinforced, uh, almost every day, and that is families and frontline caregivers are the real engine of innovation in autism. Every day, you know, I have the privilege of seeing parents and siblings and autistic self-advocates, teachers, caregivers of all kinds. Um, and what I notice in their building is they start simply with a problem that they experience. They may be sitting around the kitchen table prototyping. They may be, in school thinking about their sibling, whatever it happens to be. Uh, they, they won't stop until they have a solution for a particular ache that they have. And many of those aches can be generalized. And you'll see today the founders that we have supported in this cohort, you know, typify this. All of our cohorts are really so driven by experience that they've had. So we exist to back the founders, to back the people here who turn that invisible R&D really into new companies. And I like to call it innovation at the speed of families. Autism, a lot of times people think about autism as a niche, that if you build an autism and then you really grow outside of autism. Well, I don't believe that. I don't think our team believes that, and I don't think the companies in this space believe that. It's not a niche. We're talking about, look at the low end numbers that I hear, 65 million people or more are autistic. You know, factor, you know, do a factor of five very involved family members. So you got 30 million family members, and it's probably larger. And so then you got another, million frontline caregivers who are there in the trenches with the families, with autistic people, being that support, making that difference. And so to me, that is not a sliver of the population. It's a giant untapped market in the sense of untapped, not in exploitative, just it's a blue ocean for so many products and services, and it's big enough for a very competitive, lively landscape. Um, Families are spending money and time on workarounds because the right tools don't exist for them. And that's the gap. And the founders that you're going to hear from today, well, they're going to fill that gap. Um, they're going to close it, and we're going to have, we want more and more companies, more and more entrepreneurs who are thinking about ideas to raise their hand and and do something with that idea. Um, what I love about this cohort, and I have to say, every cohort, we have amazing founders, and it's not what they're building. The stuff that you're going to see today, you're going to hear about, is really tangible, workable, ready to use solutions. But what am really I'm tuned into, and our team's tuned into, is who they are and why they're here. And because, we've got autistic founders in the group, we have parents, we have caregivers who have worked tirelessly with this community. And they're bringing amazing experience to the table. This is one new trend that I've definitely noticed, and that is that you're seeing people from established careers in large companies, medium-sized companies, tech companies, all starting to to point their power and their energy and their experience and their networks into our community. So you're thinking about these founders come from Apple, from Microsoft, from Meta, from Bain, from Oracle, from JP Morgan Chase, American Express, Hinge, the US Air Force, and leading autism brands. So, and that talent's coming right our way. And I'm really excited about that and excited to have you see just a glimpse of what we see. But you're going to hear about real customers, revenues, traction, tools that are already in the hands of families. Now, we're heading into the end of the year, and this is a time when many of us, including me, we think a lot about what next year is going to look like and which missions we want to support in the year ahead and get behind. At Multiple, our community is our superpower. We have over 3,000 members in this community, and we're just only beginning to tap your talents, your abilities, your passions. But we have amazing mentors. We get great ideas. We have advisors. We have our board members, and we have donors, and they all come from this community. And so I'm really proud of our work because our work is being co-created and co-shaped by you. And for us, support, we're a nonprofit. It's my first nonprofit, not exactly my first, but my first nonprofit, and we're learning a lot. And so there's a spectrum of ways that you can support us, and we really do live on the support that we get from the community. So first, please, if you haven't volunteered, if you haven't stepped up to be an ambassador or network our founders into schools and things like that, we'd love to hear from you. And frankly, just put your name in the chat if you want to sign up and do something, and we will get to you. Secondly, if you're in a position to give financially, any gift helps, really. And if it's 25, it's 50, it's 100, it's 500, whatever is comfortable. That makes a real difference for us, a huge difference, frankly. And it helps us support the founders, the cohorts, the events, and getting really products in the hands of families. I mean, I'm absolutely driven to get products in the hands of families today, not 10 years from now. And you'll hear from the founders who are actually doing that. And I'm really proud that our team has been able to support that. Some of you then are in a position to give more. You might be, and to go a little deeper. And if you are, we've created, a group called the Founding 50, each committing 5,000 a year or more. And we look at this group in a special way because they're stepping up in really a great spirit, and we have meetings, we have some get-togethers. You'll hear today we're going to give a special grant out at the end to the winner of a pitch that all these founders got to prepare for today by practicing with the Founding 50 members. And so this grant will go to one of our startups in this cohort. So if you want to support this work in a way that's meaningful for you, we could use volunteers. We're always looking for mentors, and we're always, frankly, looking for financial support because we don't exist without that. So, I just would love for all of you to consider joining us in whatever way that you feel works for you. When I sat in to my first IEP meeting, and I realized this system was not made for our kids. It was not built for Reed. I promised myself I would do what I could so that families coming behind us would not walk through this same desert alone. Multiple is an expression of that promise. These founders are another, and tonight you'll have a chance to be part of it. So thank you for being here. Let's have an amazing demo day.
Thanks so much, Dan. On all fronts, hyping up the companies, all the work that you've done to make this possible, sharing your story. Um, you're a big reason why many of us are here today. So we really appreciate it. And the chat is blowing up with all the love. So
Thank you.
yeah, we have a great community. Um, okay, let's talk about how the rest of demo day is going to work. I have the very fun job of talking about everyone's favorite topic, which is logistics. Before we jump in, here's how today's going to work. You're going to hear pitches from 9 companies, all of whom were part of our Batch 5 cohort. Each founder gets 5 minutes to pitch. They're going to share what they're building, why it matters, and where they're going next. And after each pitch, we're going to move into a brief Q&A with our investor panel. And you're welcome to engage in this as well. Please use the chat. I see all of you kind of chatting there now, which is awesome. And we've got a Q&A box where if you've got a specific question for one of the founders, we may have time to slot that in during our Q&A section. And if you want to connect after with any of the companies, all of the contact information is going to be listed on the landing page, which we're going to be sharing in the chat, throughout the whole session. We'll also have a recording after the event, so if you miss anything or need to jump off early, no worries there. Okay, we're very, very lucky to have an incredibly thoughtful panel with us today. So first, joining us, I want to kind of introduce Lauren Ingram with the Autism Impact Fund. She's a principal there. She helps lead fundraising, portfolio management, deal sourcing, and she's worked with some of the most exciting autism and behavioral health companies out there. She's also deeply involved in healthcare innovation, health equity, and works on a number of boards across the broader ecosystem. Lauren, thank you for being here. I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your background.
Yeah, really excited to be here and hear from you all. To me, what's really exciting, and I can touch on this more later, but is how really the larger healthcare ecosystem, specifically investor ecosystem, is starting to recognize the real power and opportunity in investing in the autism space. I've been in healthcare venture capital for a while at more generalist funds before joining AIF. And sometimes it was hard to get those funds to pay attention. But now I really do see a shift across kind of the continuum of investment phase, to recognizing that autism is really part of a larger behavioral health need and that there's incredible opportunity in investing there. So excited to be here.
Thanks so much, Lauren. We really appreciate you spending time with us this morning. Our next panelist is Gregory Shepard. And now, Gregory was having some tech issues before we started, but I'm going to tee him up anyway. And if he can come off video, awesome, and do all the things. If not, we will move on and maybe he'll join us later. But Gregory, he's the founder and CEO of Startup Science. He's an autistic and dyslexic founder who's built and sold more than a dozen companies. He's an angel investor, and he's the author of The Startup Lifecycle, where he's distilling all of his knowledge and experience into a practical roadmap for other founders. Gregory, have we worked through the tech issues? The silence is telling me no. Okay, we will move on for now. If you can jump in, that would be awesome, but we're going to roll with the punches. So thank you, Lauren, and hopefully Gregory for being here, and just helping us kind of shepherd in the next wave of autism innovation. All right. With that, the moment you've all been waiting for, me as well, we've kind of teased this throughout the event. I would love to kick this demo day off. Our first company that we're going to have present is Goblins. So who knows the dating platform Hinge? Probably many of you. It's quite popular. But what I'm sure you don't know is that in their early days, Hinge spent its last 15K on PR, and this next presenter was their first publicist who launched them out of New York and grew them to be the brand you all know today. Lise, I'd love for you to take it away.
Hi, thank you, Kevin. Let me just quickly share my screen. All right. As Kevin mentioned, my name is Lise and I'm the founder of Goblins. After my dad died, I realized that life's too short to give shit about what other people think about you. Suddenly, I didn't have the energy to pretend I was someone I wasn't on social media. I didn't want to pretend to like hiking. I wanted to be myself and connect with people who also loved Neopets and early 2000s emo music. But Facebook is for existing friends, Instagram's for FOMO, and Reddit's for assholes. It's okay, I'm on it too. So I built Goblins because I missed when the internet felt human. We're a platform where people can be unapologetically themselves and find others that match their unique kind of weird. So Goblin's Alpha Experiment let people meet new friends or even go on dates in their favorite video games while voice chatting. Unlike trying to find a friend in a Discord server of thousands of people, if you know, you know, Goblins unlocks the intentional one-to-one social discoverability. The experience is really simple. You begin by creating a profile, and then you can search for the types of people that you would like to meet across any type of filter, geography, all of that good stuff. And you can easily invite anyone that you find interesting to play a game together. Unsurprisingly, helping people socialize in the virtual spaces that they already love has resulted in us creating this lighthouse that attracts neurodivergent and autistic goblins like myself in over 66 different countries. And the concept has resonated like crazy. We've had 15,000 people sign up for our alpha. And with no marketing spend, 1 in 3 visitors that come to our site wanted in. So I know you can listen to me talk about it, but I wanted for you to hear it from a handful of those goblins that have been in the alpha.
I love goblins. I have met so many incredible people through the platform.
One thing that appealed to me most about goblins was the expectations, because there's only one: to be your authentic self.
You and your team gave me a reason to be social again.
Goblins is not reliant on people who seek validation through attention.
A community of people, real people.
I deal with pretty heavy social anxiety. Meeting people out in the real world isn't exactly easy. Goblins has been a really comforting way for me to feel more connected.
I joined hoping to find maybe a friend or two. I found a community that I could be myself, and it feels like home. It's so lovely. Goblins is just so special.
Thank you.
Heard that so many times and it still gets me. And that last female voice, not only has that goblin found multiple friends on the platform, but they've also found someone, and that goblin is meeting her children next month. So we're really, really excited about that. But they also love the platform so much that our average paid goblin spends $92 a year through subscription. So that gives us an incredibly clear, scalable path to a $100 million opportunity. And we're not stopping there because my team and I see massive opportunity in bridging the worlds of social and play. For me, from having acquired 1 million of Hinge's early users to taking a client's $17,000 and turning it into a media stunt that resulted in 800 million media impressions across 3 days, acquisition is my superpower. I've also assembled this incredibly top-notch team that you see here from Twitch, Discord, and social and consumer and entertainment that are also incredibly passionate about what we're building. Fun fact, our advisor, Susan, the founder of 2K Games, even met her husband on Grand Theft Auto back in the day. So everyone deeply resonates what we're rolling out. We are currently in the midst of raising our angel round through anyone who's super passionate. So I would be delighted to chat. Or if you're an introvert, feel free to send me an email. Thanks so much.
Woo! Well done, Lise. That was awesome. All right. Lauren, questions for Lise?
Yeah, Lise, congratulations. That's incredible and amazing traction so early on. With that, I mean, obviously you're kind of on a rocket ship of growth. with this angel round funding, kind of what's your next big step that you're interested to kind of achieve?
That's an excellent question. So currently we have been building the platform really with duct tape and bubble gum, a very enthusiastic developer in her free time. And so we will be putting that angel round towards development. We are currently not mobile friendly. We are going to be implementing AI assisted profile reviews. And so really putting that towards getting to our first 50,000 goblins.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I'm happy to play panelist. I'm no Gregory, so this is a downgrade. But I have a question as well, Lise. How did you get so much traction? Like, I'm sure there's a cool story behind that.
For sure. So I started off by going to conferences, and I created a sign that turned me into an NPC, which for those of you that are not gamers means a non-playable character. I hold it up over my head and it says, "Goblins, tell me more, accept sticker +2 charisma, or what news of the kingdom?" And I have made so many friends through that, but also just generally finding goblins that deeply resonate with our experience and what we're building. And a lot of it's been word of mouth, and the rest of it has been organic social.
Wow. That's incredible. Really well done. Thanks so much, Lise.
Appreciate it.
Yep. All right. We're moving. Our next presenter or company is Glint by NerdChat. It's an AI tool that whips up visual communication boards in seconds instead of teachers spending hours making them by hand. And just wait until you hear their traction. It's pretty incredible. Dylan, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Kevin. Hey, everyone. My name's Dylan. I'm the co-founder of NerdChat, along with Scott, who is also on this call here. And I'm excited to share our story to you today. So, NerdChat is the founder of Glint. Glint is our product. And in the past 4 months, we've closed over 100 school districts. And that pace is still accelerating. So let me tell you a little bit about how we got here today. So I'm from New York. I went to school out at Vanderbilt in Nashville. And there, through a program called Best Buddies, is where I met one of my closest friends who was an AAC user. At the time, I didn't really know what an AAC device was. We had such a close relationship, but what happened was every time I went back and forth between New York and Nashville, we would lose touch because his device was so amazing for his in-person communication. But every time we kept losing that, we couldn't really stay in touch. And he had so much energy. I wish I could have sustained that. So I decided to start volunteering in schools and districts to learn more about assistive technology and to see how we're serving our loved ones. And found that visuals are a very important part about that whole journey. So visuals help us learn how to communicate, build independence, and more. But the reality is, a lot of teachers and therapists and even parents are spending hours every single week manually creating visuals, or simply they just don't have time to make them all. So let me show you what this looks like in real life. You're a teacher, you might be serving around 30-ish students, and on Sunday night, you open up your laptop and start painstakingly building a social story or scrolling through reseller marketplaces or copying Google images one at a time. It's slow, it's outdated, and it's really burning people out. So this is the moment that we realized visual support creation needed a complete reframing. So we created something better. And that is called Glint. Glint, quite simply, allows you to type in any sort of topic that you are looking to create a high yield visual in. So we're talking some of the highest yield speech pathology and special education templates, from social stories to schedules to communication grids. You type the topic, Glint does all the heavy lifting. And I'll show a video right now that a teacher in Iowa made one of the first weeks we launched. It's as simple as that. All you have to do is type in your topic, what you're trying to learn or work on, and Glint does all the heavy lifting. What's unique about it is that it has voice output, it speaks, and it's very shareable and adaptive. So Glint meets students where they are today. We use AI to automatically personalize materials for language needs, visual needs, and also motor accessibility. So to give you a sense of how powerful this is the interactive part where I want everyone to actually scan this. You're going to be able to see a social story I generated, I believe in English and Spanish. I made this in just a few seconds, and you're going to be able to see how a lot of providers are sharing this home with parents. It's the first time they have access to high quality adaptive visuals that can help support their autonomy and independence. So you'll notice you don't need an account and you have access to this voice output in addition. So we're seeing people use this outside of just one-on-one sessions in classrooms and actually out in the community or in homes. So who do we actually service? We work with primarily special ed, public schools, speech pathologists, and different types of therapists. And we're also seeing Glint rapidly expand into other areas such as general education and behavioral support. And what's next? What we have here is a really robust engine for generating visual supports. We're adding more types of templates and things that we are creating based on community feedback. And yeah, we're really just getting started. This is the tip of the iceberg. It has been about 4 months, so we're excited to show you where we end up soon. This is our link in case you want to get in touch or share our mission with anyone relevant.
Well done, Dylan. That was great. Cool demo too. I love it. All right. Lauren, questions?
Yes, for some reason. Okay, here we go. It was not letting me start my video. Sorry about that. Dylan, incredible technology solving a huge need. Obviously, are you already in any schools and what locations are you already in? And have you gotten feedback from those users? What's their biggest demand for what's coming next?
Yeah, we're in over 100 school districts, primarily in the US and Canada. And also a lot of European people reaching out to us on the daily. And you asked the biggest what they're using it the most for
Yes.
It's been saving time and meeting students where they are today with this really adaptable, interface, and the ability to share things to home is very important to them. So those are some of the key points.
Sorry, I'm going to ask a follow-up question, given that in such a short time you're in so many school districts. Right now, is it just what is the payment model? And is it the individual teachers and educators paying for it? Is it the school districts themselves already paying for it? What does that model look like?
It's a per user per year model. So we pay based on seats. We prefer if people go through their organization. So typically most of our clients are public schools. We're getting in their budgets, although we do allow you to purchase individually as well.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dylan, you're on fire. And yeah, it's been fun watching this thing grow with you over the last few months. Can you talk a little bit more about, the traction is the kind of crown jewel here. Everyone's like, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you grow so quickly in a vertical that people are like, stay away. This is a long sales cycle.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it has to do with genuinely just listening and keeping your ear close to the ground. So it's all based on the problem. There was this big problem in the industry where people were looking for this and looking for high quality visual supports and do not have enough time. And they're already paying for other softwares that are doing something similar, but not exactly. So it was just a really easy way for us to come in and say, hey, if you're already spending money, and it's just been this grassroots word of mouth approach, taking care of everyone individually, and they help spread it for us.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, good job, guys. Dylan, great pitch. All right. Our next presenter, we've got Talkido. Talkido is a screen-free talking playmate and an AAC platform that builds kids' language and social skills through interactive play, both at home and in classrooms. Ege, take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm gonna share my screen just a minute. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Ege. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Talkido, and we provide accessible and personalized language support for kids with special needs. So our story began when my co-founder John's cousin was diagnosed with autism. At the age of 3, he lost all his words, became nonverbal, and lost his interest in humans and communication. And witnessing his challenges made us dive deep into his problems, and we realized he wasn't alone. Today, 8 million children face severe language and communication challenges. And despite the $30 billion spent on assistive tools each year, children still struggle to fill the language gap because most of the tools are either too complex to understand, heavily rely on screens, too expensive, and take a lot of time to adapt and personalize. And this leaves children behind at the most critical ages and puts caregiver under constant stress. So our community needs simple tools to implement real life instantly. So we developed Talkido to fill this gap. We give a simple solution for families, educators, and therapists. This is Talkido Mio. It's a portable device that children can carry through the home, therapy, and school, and it can turn any room into an interactive learning environment with a simple touch like this.
I love you.
So we give these voice recordable stickers that you can put on any object, such as your child's favorite toy, books, or anything in the home. And so you record the sound recordings in it, and they get more and consistent language exposure throughout the day. And they get the vocabulary they need faster. And these recordings are created by each child's individual needs, and they can be changed. The recordings can be changed as the children learn and grow. And while children play with our device, our app tracks their interactions and developments and gives personalized insights about their learning journey to the therapists and families. And it creates a simple way to create personalized multisensory learning experiences. Today, over 30,000 children learn their first words using Talkido, and they still use Talkido to further develop their skills across different activities. And Talkido's effect has been proven by academic and independent studies. And according to these studies, children using Talkido show higher motivation and engagement in social interactions and increase spoken vocabulary faster. And for some of them, it helped them to achieve 1-year learning goals in just 3 months. And this is a huge progress for the children and a huge relief for the families and the school systems. Right now, there are 7 million students and 1 million therapists who can benefit Talkido every day. And this number is rapidly growing. And our business model is hardware-enabled software. We sell packages for families starting from $290 and for classrooms starting from $590. And we also have add-on games, curriculums, and more activities for clinic and school and home use. And soon we will be launching our subscription model to give families and educators an access to personalized assistance and AI-powered activity generator. We are backed by New Schools twice and currently serving over 200 schools and 100 families across the US. We have 2 university partners for research, and we recently partnered with Step Up for Students. So now families in Florida can access Talkido at no cost. And just in this platform, there are 200,000 families that we can reach out to. In the last 2 months, we generated $100,000 ARR potential by attending just 2 conferences. And we are looking to raise $2 million in the next 9 months to scale our production and sales. And our goal for the next 3 years to support over 60,000 children, launch our subscription with more content, and generate over $10 million in revenue. We are a multidisciplinary team with a deep experience in design, education, and technology, and we have been working together over 5 years. And together with this team, we have proven Talkido's impact by helping thousands of children with an evidence-backed system. And with your support, we can scale it and help millions of children learn, communicate, and thrive. And you can see with the QR codes our website and check more. Thank you for listening.
Amazing job, Ege. That was great.
Thank you.
Lauren, questions?
Yeah, congratulations again. That's incredible. So right now you're selling directly to caregivers. and educators. Is that correct?
Yes, and 90% of our customers right now are schools, and we recently started experimented selling to individuals, families, and we see a great traction from there. So we are following that direction also.
What you were able to do in Florida to provide access to so many people is incredible. How did you manage that? How did you negotiate that opportunity?
So I think in 12 states, there are ESSA funds, so educational saving accounts. And we managed to get into one of those accounts with the help of one of our advisors. So from that platform, families can access our devices.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
One of the things that always struck me about your product, Ege, is that it is screen-free, right? There's no screen. And I feel like there's a huge wave of kids getting off of iPads, getting off of screens, away from TVs. Are you seeing that as like a catalytic force that's pushing people even closer to your product? Are you riding that wave?
Yes, thank you for asking that. And I used to get a lot questions about why you don't build an app. And now it's getting less and less because people understand the importance of screen-free. So the children can interact with their environment without the distraction of the device and the screens. And we use that way really good.
That's cool. I love it, the inflection point. It seems like the right time for this. Great job, Ege. That was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
All right. Next up, we have BIP Visualized. They give agencies and schools visual behavior plans, tools, trainings, so staff and family can actually understand and use behavioral support strategies instead of just having long written plans that no one can realistically follow. Morgan, you're up.
Thanks, Kevin, and thanks so much to Multiple for this opportunity and mentorship. Hi, I'm Morgan, a BCBA and the CEO of BIP Visualized. In the last 90 days, we've generated over 60,000 in sales, all through our social presence and reputation in the ABA community. But my motivation for building BIP Visualized didn't start with sales. It started with my work as a BCBA. This is Zara. When I met her, she was biting, hitting, and scratching her parents more than 100 times per day. In one day, her unsafe behaviors dropped to 80% and then soon to 0. How did this happen? I turned her behavior plan from this to this. For the first time in the field of ABA, we have visualized behavior expertise so that families just like Zara's know exactly how to help. Now what stands out the most about Zara is her sweet, silly, and playful personality. 6 million parents, special education teachers, and RBTs receive behavior plans that they do not understand. Families just like Zara's wait an average of 3 years to meet a behavior expert, and then when that support finally comes, they're handed this lengthy, jargon-filled document that's supposed to be the answer to their daily struggles. We started solving this problem through our first company, ABA Visualized. With my co-founder, Bao, who's an infographic designer, we published visual guidebooks, and I led trainings for ABA companies and school districts around the country. ABA Visualized quickly became a go-to resource in our field. We've now sold more than 60,000 products, earned top ratings in the space on Amazon, and are used by BCBAs, educators, and families worldwide. But books can only reach so far. So we took what we learned and built BIP Visualize, an online platform that makes behavior expertise accessible through visuals. Behavior professionals can create and customize their own visual behavior plans, or BIPs, access a growing collection of resources and trainings that are created in collaboration with autistic consultants, and they can share all of this directly with families, teachers, and behavior staff. We're the only platform offering all of this visually. We launched in 2024, and already over 7,000 visual behavior plans have been created. Since July, we've grown 11% month over month. We've reached over 18K in monthly recurring revenue with zero ad spend. We've built completely on the reputation we've earned in the field and our internal champions loving the product. We have a proven track record, have validated this problem, and are a recognized leader in this space. We've built an engine that works, and we're ready to accelerate. This field is shifting quickly. As the gap between BCBAs and the neurodivergent population grows, parents and teachers urgently need more approachable expertise. BIP Visualize is uniquely positioned to meet this need now and as the market expands. Right now, we're growing intentionally with our beachhead audience, BCBAs, but we're planning to land grab and directly sell to parents and special education teachers, which significantly increases our TAM. As we move toward our next phase, expanding to those teachers and caregivers, we're beginning to build relationships with people who may want to explore investment opportunities down the line or stay close to what we're building. If that's you, we'd love to stay in touch. You can sign up here for our internal quarterly updates, and we're looking forward to connecting.
Amazing. Great job, Morgan. This is fantastic. You have such a cool story too. I love the progression from, practitioner to book to product. It's awesome. Lauren, questions?
Yeah, good job, Morgan. I mean, this is a huge need as we are kind of all seeing in the market, especially as you're moving towards selling directly to parents and special educators. Who will then be creating those customized care plans when you do that move, and is that going to be in-house? What does that mean for your team internally?
Yeah, when we started, we were really focusing on the visual behavior plans, like in the story, I see the impact of that, but those are still meant to be developed by a behavior expert. However, there's more and more need for parents and teachers to try something on their own until they have access to that behavior expert. So that's where we have our full collection of strategies that are all evidence-based strategies. They include like goal, context, tip that gives a little bit of guidance, like this strategy is good for situations like this. We also have trainings that are also for specific situations. So that way parents and teachers have accessible expertise that can help, they can try on their own until they are able to reach, have that access to the behavior expert.
That's great.
That's really cool. So yeah, the journey is what always I found most fascinating. Morgan, you're like a thought leader in this space, right? You got a pretty big social following. Is that how you're getting most of the customers, either from like the book to product, from your socials? Like, tell me more about that.
Yeah, we're really proud of what we've built through our first company. We've built not only we've 50,000 social followers across our platforms, but it's a community where we've built that trust, that reputation. I'm often invited as speakers at conferences, on podcasts. I'm able to collaborate because of that with top leaders in our field and researchers in our field, and we are able to visualize their research because we have built that reputation as somebody who is not just visualizing behavior expertise, but I love reading research on my own. So we're very much like current best practices. We collaborate since day one, 7 years ago, with autistic self-advocates. We have paid consultants on our team. So it's really important for us to be aligned with that neurodiversity affirming practices, which also addresses some of the questions in the chat coming through. So that trust in the quality of our products has enabled the rapid growth with BIP Visualized.
That's fantastic. Great presentation. And I love that you're deep in this space. You're truly an expert on this.
Thank you, Kevin.
Of course. Good stuff. We're moving right along. Our next company is Unique Minds. They're building digital support animals for families to better understand, support, and empower kids with unique minds. Alad, take it away.
Thank you, Kevin. Hi, everyone. My name is Elad Ziklik, and we are Unique Minds. Now, if you ever wanted a fluffy magical bat as your helpful nurse or a puppy as a magical support animal in your pocket, this is the session for you. But first, let me introduce you to my co-founder, Coram. Colm is diagnosed with autism level 1 and dyslexia and has spent 24 years as a software engineer at Microsoft. But that's not why we're here. We're here because of his daughter, Zia. Zia is 18 and was recently diagnosed with intellectual disability and anxiety. Colm has been using his AI skills to help her and realized that his idea could help millions of other people. So he called me. Colm and I worked together at Microsoft for a decade. I personally spent the last 25 years in big tech, building multi-billion-dollar businesses for Microsoft and Oracle. And I felt like I needed to change, like there's more to life than working for assholes. Together with Christine, our brilliant pediatric neuropsychologist, we all quit our lucrative day jobs to go and change the world. Now, this is where I'm supposed to explain the problem. Talk about 68 million neurodiverse individuals in the US alone suffering from fragmented, understaffed mental health and developmental care, whether it's ADHD or anxiety or autism or just the chaos of growing up. There's a huge group of people who feel lost in everyday life. They don't want therapy. They want tools that understand them, that work for them, that go with them. A weekly hour with your therapist doesn't help you when your child has a meltdown before bedtime or before going to school every morning. Now, I know you all have your own thoughts and opinions about AI, and I could spend the time telling you how, for the first time in human history, intelligence is available as a technology, and our AI has reached a level of readiness so it can actually be utilized to solve these challenges and help the people who need it the most. And Unique Minds sits at this intersection of this urgent need and scalable technology. But I'd much rather show you how a hamster can help a girl with executive function challenges choose what to eat and how to make her favorite dishes. This is Humphrey, Zia's hamster, and this is Digital Humphrey, one of the virtual support animals. And this Humphrey is far more than just a rodent. He can actually help Zia choose what to eat and help her with step-by-step instructions on how to prepare the food that she likes, because he's a chef Humphrey. Now, I probably should be spending my time telling you about our beta cohort and its promising initial results across children and parents and clinicians. We have hundreds of families and clinicians as part of our private beta, and we're seeing early but very clear evidence of habit formation. Over 1,500 support animals created so far, and very strong retention number, 70% after a week and 61% after 30 days. But I'd rather show you how a beloved pet can help you get ready for bed, or even how your sarcastic pug can help you take your medicine by sharing stories from around the world as he's traveling. Now, you probably want to hear all about our go-to-market, how we have strong channels both directly to parents and individuals, as well as through clinicians and strategic partnerships with large organizations. How we're able to create a very compelling app experience that is not just helpful, but also fun, viral, and engaging. An app that adapts and grows with you as your interests and needs change. Or how we're targeting a $16 billion US TAM by going directly to the people who need it the most, with a very simple and affordable business model starting at $20 a month subscription. But I'd really rather show you how we create personalized experiences that keep users engaged long-term, how our Unique Mind characters can transform this 1980s clip-out page given to us by one of our cohort therapists into this clay motion delight, or how we can take this social story and turn it into a riveting personalized story narrated by Poppy the Panda for a 7-year-old girl named Elsie. We have early testimonials from parents, clinicians, and teachers sharing stories about the relationships formed with these characters, and how they help support and empower our users. How children are waiting every day at 7 p.m. to see what Fuzzbucket did today, or doing their morning routine on their own so they can tell Snoozy Paws that they're ready for school and get the reward, a joke or an image or a story. Now, this is the time where I'm supposed to tell you about where we are on the journey. That we raised a pre-seed round earlier this year with participation from Madrona and Alumni Ventures, and that we're looking to raise a $5 million seed round to really bring these AI-powered support animals to the people who need it the most at scale. But I want you to leave this session feeling like you experienced or at least understand the magic that is Unique Minds. Think of something delightful that you experienced or have in your life. A cactus that you look at every morning in your office, or a furry llama that you saw when you were at the zoo, or a dragon from a book that inspired you, or even just your favorite pet or stuffy or person. Now think of something in your life that you want to improve. Increase in self-confidence, becoming more consistent at something, be more independent in something. This is what it should feel like. This is actually a screenshot of the support system of one of our users in action. Because Unique Minds magic is all about taking the things you love in your life and harnessing the untapped potential of AI to change the world for every Unique Mind. Thank you.
Awesome job, Alad. That was great. I love your visuals. They're very cool. Yeah, Lauren.
This is amazing, especially as I think about this kind of big shift that we've seen for a long time in healthcare, people trying to do um, kind of preventative or wraparound care. And we're really starting to see this in the autism space, especially in all of behavioral health, thinking about ways to improve medication adherence, diet, things like that. So I can imagine the demand is crazy, obviously, on the direct to consumer side, but I also think of a lot of our portfolio companies, for example, at AIF, that are really looking at this kind of value-based care play. Have you had conversations or have any of these kind of larger autism platform companies reached out to you about partnership?
So we've had some initial conversation with actually some of the AAC device manufacturers to see if we can actually personalize this or whatnot. We sort of pushed it back because we need to first build a platform, build a service to get to a point where it actually does what it's supposed to do. But that's part of our expansion strategy for next year to go and strike some partnerships with leading companies and get them to see how we can integrate with the experiences of them with our platform.
Well, when you're ready for those, let me know. I think Cortica would be very interested in a conversation.
Thank you.
Oh, I love the connections. This is cool. Alad, this is great. And having worked with you for the last 3 months, you guys are being really intentional about how you build this. And what I want to ask about is, you've got some really promising retention stats. Like what are those? And I know you mentioned a few of them in the pitch, but like what's happening when people actually use the product? And yeah, tell me more.
So like it's all about habit forming. What we found is if you start building a character from something that you have a trust relationship with in your life, it could be something that you really care about, your favorite Pokemon or your stuffed animal or whatever. Then if you build this relationship successfully, and part of what we're doing is building this rapport initially with no clinical outcome, just having you engage with your character and having the character understand what is it that you like. Some kids like dead jokes, some kids like stories, comics, riddles or whatnot. Then what we get is a relationship where you actually want to hear what this character wants to tell you. And we give parents and clinicians the superpower to be like, hey, you want to tell whatever Snoozy Paws about you're ready for school so he can tell you his daily joke. And I think that is what this retention is about. What we found is when we get you to one of these daily loops, when we successfully have you run through onboarding and get a daily interaction with your character, you have close to 100% retention because it's awesome. Imagine you as a parent, your kid loves whatever Star Wars, and you can have Darth Vader at your disposal to help influence your kids' goals. So we're sort of TikTok in the sense as far as all the addiction, but we're not biasing for clicks, we're biasing for positive outcomes. So imagine a content delivery platform that is biased to help you do the things that you want to do by serving the most delightful piece of content at the right time to help you brush your teeth or avoid a meltdown or deal with anxiety. So that's what we're trying to do.
That's amazing. Social engineering, good. I like it. That's really cool.
Designer drugs for good.
Amazing. Any other questions, Lauren? No. All right. All good. Very well done, Alad. All right. Next up, we have Percy. Percy is a contactless, non-video system that captures what's happening in someone's environment while they sleep. They've been recognized by the National Sleep Foundation and will be showcased with them on the main floor at CES this January. Big stuff. I love it. Connor, floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Connor Herman, CEO and founder of Percy, and today I'm going to tell you about a $100 billion healthcare problem that only we can solve because we know why you can't sleep. A little bit of background on me. I'm a veteran, a mother, a board-certified behavior analyst, and I've been doing behavioral sleep therapy for almost 20 years now. I used to charge $2,500 a night to sleep on the floors of hedge fund managers and celebrities, and it was a really successful business until I had a grand mal seizure. because I wasn't sleeping, and I realized I had to pivot. So I went back to school and came up with a plan for Percy to scale what I had been providing to everyone. Many people are surprised to find out that 80% of autistic children have clinically significant sleep problems, and 75% of sleep disorders in neurodivergent children go undiagnosed. This is largely because sleep is being provided for by a general practitioner who only has about 6 minutes to understand the complicated problems that are happening at night, which means that you are 80% likely to get a recommendation for medicine. And I'm not talking melatonin and Benadryl. I'm talking Klonopin. That's serious. And so why do we care about this? Well, sleep impacts your brain plasticity, and that is a fancy way of saying that sleep impacts your brain growth. So when you are not sleeping well, all of these behaviors that you see on this slide actually get bigger. And the cruel irony of it all is that we're sending our autistic children to therapy 15, 30, sometimes 40 hours a week to address these very behaviors, and we can't address sleep. And that's because current sleep technology isn't built for neurodiverse people. I don't want to do that. In fact, most of the sleep industry is focused on collecting your biometric data, like your heart rate and breath rate during sleep. But we know as behaviorists that there's more to the story. And that's why we built Percy, to see what no clinician ever could without wearables and video. We're using thermal imaging, LiDAR, light, sound, temperature, humidity. It's 9 different sensors, and doing multi-sensor fusion to intuit what's happening at night. Who are you talking to? Are you in and out of bed? Are you on your phone? And then we map it across the timeline. So instead of making you take copious sleep logs and spend hours trying to explain the data, in seconds, I can see that you have a great bedtime routine. You're getting a nice tranche of sleep, and then, here's our problem area that we need to focus on. And then I have data to track your progress in real time. Percy's a Class 1 medical device right now that the clinician will prescribe and patients will pay for using their state scholarships or Medicaid waivers. And in the future, once we're a Class 2 device, insurance is going to cover it. We're also charging a monthly subscription to behavior centers, which is actually going to open up several different revenue streams that I'm happy to talk about after I'm done. Right now, we have a wait list of more than 150 partners, and we're planning pilots with all of these amazing centers right now, and we're having deep conversations with several of these businesses in the medical community. And just to give you an idea of scale, we're talking to 3 different billion-dollar healthcare systems, one of which has 50,000 pediatric patients with 10,000 who can use us today. We're also planning some fun stuff with the DoD. So there's clearly a need outside of autism, but we are hyper-focused on this community right now because 80% have clinically significant sleep problems. And not only that, it's a unique need that can be met today. It flows right into the therapeutic process. We have 70,000 behavior-obsessed BCBAs who are ready to make our behavioral algorithm the best in the world. And then after we do that, we can scale and help everybody else. It helps everyone in the ecosystem. We have a plan to achieve 100 million in ARR by 2030. And if we focus on becoming a freestanding, profitable business, it's going to make us attractive to a lot of the other players in the nighttime space. We have an amazing team with deep technical, operational, strategical, and clinical experience. And we have an amazing synergy with our advisors and our volunteer researchers who are trying to help us get this to market. We are ready for commercialization, and now we're raising $4 million to bring Percy to market. We posted an email to our wait list, and we got 3 times our initial demand for our first 1,000 units, which means if I can build these things, they will sell. And I'm just going to leave you with a parent quote right here because it really highlights. When we reached out to our wait list, the very first meeting I had, it was a parent of an autistic child. And while we were talking, he sent me this quote. It's not just about sleep. It's about the trauma that they're dealing with. And if we solve that, we're really going to make a difference. So I hope that if you want to join me on this journey, this is a QR code to our wait list. And just to leave this last thought, the ability to sleep is not magic, but the power of sleep is. Thank you.
Really moving presentation, Connor. That was fantastic. Good job. Lauren, questions?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing, Connor. We all know, in this group that more medication, especially some of the severe medications required for sleep are not the solution and can really have longer, harsh effects. But also, obviously, the healthcare system is not always set up to incentivize that. It seems to me that there'd be an interesting opportunity for this is cheaper than a medication to work with insurance companies and have them kind of be the champion here where maybe doctors always cannot be. What I know you're obviously going through the FDA approval, you've been through that process. Where are you in far as conversations with insurance companies?
Well, I spoke to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they were like, the meeting went like this. I'm building a behavior measurement tool. They said, that sounds great. We want to support you. And I said, how do we do that? And they said, go get a critical mass, and then we'll help you. And so what I'm trying to do now is get devices built, get them in the hands so that I can say, see, all of these people really like it. Can we please be brought in on your system? Right now, sleep, adolescent behavior, these are two of their top priorities right now. So it's not a hard sell. I don't have to explain to them half of what I just presented in this briefing for them to get it. So we're going to have their support. And by the way, they want behavior centers to use the hours that they're prescribed. And right now, many of those hours are going unused. So if we can add sleep to the curriculum of ABA, they'll be able to do more parent training, and they'll actually be able to address some of the fundamental reasons why these behaviors are so big.
That's incredible. I'm thrilled to hear that the insurance companies get it.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So, congratulations.
Awesome stuff, Connor. And I'm glad we highlighted that kind of unused hours piece because I think that's really interesting and it does really put a pin on why this is one of the best industries to start in, and it makes so much sense. Tell me more about Traction. I mean, I won't share everything, but you even texted me last night. This crazy, like it's bananas. People just want this thing, and it just keeps rolling in. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So we had so basically we decided to start polling our wait list. We've been gathering people to join over the last couple months, and I was surprised to see that since we joined multiple, we doubled our wait list, and so over the last 2 weeks, people have been clicking on a link to join our early access program. And last night we had one of our health systems say that they want 2,000 units now. And so we are trying to be really focused on autism. I really want these devices in the hands of BCBAs and the families that they're working with, because I think our product in the end is going to be better if we focus on this market. But there is a future. And in fact, I just had a conversation 3 days ago with a group that I can't talk about. They said I can't say their name yet until January, but they want to use our device to relieve their sleep lab. They want to put them in the homes of all the people who are in line and then track their progress when they go home. And that's actually a big problem that a lot of sleep clinics are telling me. People with dementia, parasomnias, and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, they have a really hard time even self-reporting what's happening. And so it's not like the sleep community feels like their technology is sufficient. There's a place for us. But again, when you talk about a behavior measurement tool, and that's really what we are, the community that has the greatest need is autism.
Wow. This is great. Really well done, Connor. And I can feel the excitement. I'm excited too. You have transferred it to me. It's amazing.
Gonna happen. And it's gonna be amazing. We're gonna help a lot of people. So
Yeah,
thank you for this opportunity to share.
of course. Well done. All right. Our next founder built Read AI from the ground up to turn real world language into learnable moments for neurodivergent kids and their families. Introducing John Zweifler, a dad first and a founder second, whose personal journey inspired a platform helping children make more sense of the world around them. Jay-Z, you're up.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, greetings, everybody. It is a real privilege to be here. But before I introduce myself, I want you to meet Read, the first natural language learning platform purpose-built for divergent learners and their families. So it soaks up the language the kids are exposed to wherever they go and transforms it into experiences they can understand and learn from right in the moment. And by the way, I am John Zweifler, founder of Read AI, but my biggest role and the inspiration for Read comes from being a parent to an awesome, verbally challenged, autistic 11-year-old, that handsome little devil. And the reality is, my son is smart as hell, but natural language just doesn't feel that natural to him. And what we all take for granted is that we all learned how to communicate from just watching and hearing our parents in our youngest years. But when someone struggles to learn their first language, the one that makes interacting and connecting with people feel natural, whether that's from developmental delay, dyslexia, ADHD, autism, it creates an understanding gap that is brutal for divergent kids and their families. And there are over 32 million homes in the US spending billions each year on tools and solutions to try and fill those gaps outside of therapy and special ed. Now, don't get me wrong, the practitioners we entrust our kids with are making magic happen. The problem is they can't be everywhere families need them, and that magic becomes hard to sustain and scale. And that is why Read exists, to bridge the gap between the magic of therapy and our everyday divergent lives, turning little family moments into spontaneous reinforcement learning moments. And it's the Read tablet app that serves like Google Translate meets Duolingo for understanding and learning from everyday conversations. So at the breakfast table, on a car ride, learning how to brush your teeth, you talk, and Read shows and reinforces that language with research-backed symbols, sounds, and cues so that what's being said around these kids is more likely to be understood. And therapist-trusted reinforcement methods are always a tap away to help that growing language really stick. But this isn't a one-trick pony app where you master an exercise and the value starts to fade away. Read meets kids where they are and supports their learning development at every phase. Because the way we see it, kids don't age out of progress. And that progress, big and small, is now made visible across home, school, therapy, letting everyone see what's working, where, and with who. Now, Read was born out of co-design and testing with therapists at the Talk School here in Philadelphia, and we're psyched to be designing pilots with some forward thinkers at Drexel and Boston universities in the coming year, because at our core, we're here to scale the progress of what's working in the trenches and the promise of what's on the horizon. But we all know the rubber hits the road when you get into everyday homes. And our alpha tester families who are paying to participate are bringing strong signals. But Amanda, Nick's mom, really captures it best. I'm literally in tears. Nick just spoke his first full sentence because of Read. And that's what we mean when we say we're purpose-built for divergent families. And our business is purpose-built to serve the pent-up demand in those households. We're talking about a beachhead of over 13 million Read-ready homes and anchoring on a premium price point set at just 1/3 the cost of a single hour of speech therapy. We believe we can conservatively support over $1 million in ARR in year one and over $20 million by the end of year 3. And we make our entrance into the marketplace by sparking a flywheel between the two trust networks that shape decision-making for divergent families, other parents like them, and the clinicians they know and trust. There is a ton of untapped value here, and we've got a killer plan on how to harness that. Now, the Reed founding team is comprised of product and commercialization vets. At Comcast NBC Universal, I authored their exclusive inclusive design strategy before joining Facebook to lead content sharing experiences across the Meta ecosystem. Rob pioneered LLM retail applications at Nike, and then again, driving R&D with me and Josh at Xfinity. The horsepower here is legit, and the bench is deep with some awesome humans. The person we're seeking next is the right lead investor for our 500,000 safe financed angel round to fund our expansions from private to public betas, which we plan to announce at CES Eureka Park in a few weeks, and harden our product market fit for our general audience launch in June of 26. This round fuels our path from promise to pilot to platform. So Reed is more than just another app, folks. It's a bridge from everyday confusion to natural connection for millions of families. And we'd love for you to join us on this journey. So don't be shy about securing your spot on the beta waitlist today.
Woo-hoo. Good job, Jay-Z. That was great. And as always, I love the visuals. Yeah, great presentation. Lauren, questions?
Great job, and obviously bridging a huge gap and a huge need. I guess it seems like people are kind of beating down your door to get access, but as far as kind of long-term growth is, what are you kind of seeing as the channel partnerships, or who's referring and sending families to the platform?
Sure. So the reason why our pricing is set at premium for consumer households and free for therapists, we're a public benefit corporation, and if a therapist thinks that this could be a useful tool for their kids, we want them to be unhindered in accessing that. We also want them to be unhindered in referring in their caseloads, which, are conservatively, if you talk about a private therapist, you've got 17 kids in each of those. So that's part one. Part two, and these are both near term, is the established IEP cycle. So you've got these quarterly check-ins where those two trusted cohorts are coming together to talk about what should we do? What could we be doing at home? So there's already an established cadence that we can piggyback on in the near term. In the longer term, it's looking at how we go from D to C and then really sort of B to B to C. So those therapy networks, talking with our friends at PE so that we start, selling to, 150 clinical locations times N therapists per. But we're also talking with school districts who actually reached out to us. That was part of more of our year 3 plan. But yeah, this gap is pervasive. There's a lot of demand for it. The thing that we're really keen about, that's really a core principle, is we want to be very intentional about really landing product or problem product fit at scale for these different areas. It's never going to be as easy as like, oh, cool, we cracked it for one-on-one therapy. So let's toss it in a classroom or throw it in a home. That's what our betas are really focused on now is how do we ensure that the tech capabilities that are holding up really nicely and being really flexible can be featureized and focused per those contexts the way we need them to.
And sorry, I'm gonna ask a kind of a follow-up question. Sure. Is it on your roadmap to consider thinking about how you all can get reimbursed or paid just as therapy hours do? Or is that kind of on the roadmap, or is it really thinking about going through the therapist first?
No, the near term, so near term meaning at our general audience launch, we will ensure that we can make it easy for HSA and FSA to be able to take advantage of when you're referred through a therapist. But longer term, it's really about starting to get into those clinics and clinical networks so that we're getting a large enough amount of data that we can go to the states and it's a grueling process. I understand you sort of got to go state by state, but it's worth it, as well as those as we fall into the learning domain, those state educational savings plans that are now becoming more pervasive. So I'm a big believer in finding the right paths to the right commercial paths that help us grow so that we can continue, this is going to be a moving target, this problem space, for a long time. If it stops, I am cool. That's a great problem to have, but we're also accounting for the need to continue R&D year over year for some time to
Yeah.
sort of really differentiate.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Sure.
Great job, Jay-Z. That was fantastic. One quick plug for you is if anybody in the audience is interested, like once you see the demo, I think there's a huge unlock that's happened. I've seen it happen for multiple people when we're on calls. So highly recommend if there's any interest here, like reach out to Jay-Z. It'll blow your mind. It shows that you guys are at the highest level of product design. It's great. My question though is, and I think this gets lost sometimes in the pitch, but like this is research backed. Can you tell me more about that research and some of the efficacy there?
Sure. So it's very important to call out and make clear that Read is a medium, not a method, which is to say we are taking the research and evidence-based methods that are working with licensed therapists, what have you, and we are making them more accessible to a broader range of people. So the efficacy, the types of things that we're working on with like Drexel and BU is about how much more effective is this medium in delivering those methods, but the methods themselves are proven. I'm not a speech and language pathologist. I just play one on TV. I am not trying to assert a sort of like a new intervention, but what we did do intentionally is to ensure that the tech is designed in a flexible enough way so that it's not, again, that one trick pony of like, well, it does this one thing, but now the gold standard is this, or we need to start suppressing this and be proactively surfacing that. Those are the types of sort of pipes and cogs that we've been focused on under the hood to sort of keep us defensible and differentiated moving forward.
That's awesome. Thanks for that clarification, Jay-Z, and really great presentation.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you and Kate.
Of course. All right. Up next is Ella. Ella helps neurodivergent kids make sense of what's happening around them by turning tricky situations, daily routines, maybe big feelings into simple, personalized visual stories that parents, teachers, and therapists can use right away. Javen, take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm Javen Anzalita, co-founder and CEO of Ella. 10 years ago, my daughter Noella was diagnosed with autism. For her 9th birthday, a beach trip turned into a meltdown on a busy boardwalk. I felt helpless. I hadn't prepared her. Then I remembered her therapist had recommended a solution: visual supports, evidence-based tools that help understand what's coming. The problem? Creating them took design software, 2 to 3 hours, and expertise I didn't have. I'm a 4-time product leader who's built tools impacting millions, but I couldn't make a social story for my kid. And I'm not alone. 10.3 million US kids need visual supports, but 1.3 million teachers and therapists are making them by hand or not at all. So we built Ella, an AI tool that generates personalized and engaging studio quality visual supports in 90 seconds. It's simple. Create characters, enter a topic, choose a style. Unlike general AI tools, Ella is purpose-built to help neurodivergent kids understand, using neuroaffirming language, the people in their world, and, of course, engaging visuals. Ella helps with practical, everyday challenges. For example, to prep Noella for her dental exam, I used Ella to produce this set of visual supports. The best part? She got through her cleaning and x-rays for the first time ever without sedation. And Ella does more than prep for the dentist. Over 16,000 users have created 50,000 visual supports, generating an average of $13,000 in monthly revenue on subscriptions ranging from $8 to $20 per month. 100% organic growth driven by sharing. Visual supports are our starting point. Our vision is to be the go-to platform for helping neurodivergent kids develop skills for independence. We're starting with the 3.4 million kids in the US ages 6 to 11, then the 300 million plus kids worldwide. We're reaching them in 3 phases. We accelerate organic growth across the US school districts by partnering with influential experts, expand in therapy clinics through direct sales and conferences, and then take our playbook international where we already have demand. And we know how to build global platforms at scale. My co-founder and I bring over 30 years of SaaS experience as repeat product and tech leaders, including high-growth startups and one acquisition. We're adding clinical advisors, marketing leadership, and engineering talent as we grow. We're raising $1 million in our first round to execute top-down sales through conferences, direct outreach, and brand building, and build enterprise features that support organization-wide adoption. We went back to the beach. This time, Noella was ready and made it in the water. Join us in unlocking confidence and independence for millions of kids like Noella. Thank you.
Nicely done, Javen. That was great. Lauren, questions?
Well, kudos on really building out the tech and spending time there first. I think it will make this commercialization push a lot easier. And show as we've seen today, there's huge opportunity. As far as, I guess, the UX and the experience for those making kind of whatever the care plan is or the model, I guess, how easy is that? Do they need to have any sort of expertise, or is as simple as going to the dentist?
Yeah, it's literally as simple as going to the dentist. But if you have more specific needs, like in that example, I listed out she was going to have sealants, she was going to have x-rays, and then afterwards we were going to do something fun. So you can customize it, but it's literally, if you can write bullet points or just ramble text, it really doesn't have to be structured. You can produce with Ella.
That's what I was wondering. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job, Javen. One thing I'd love for you to dig more into, I mean, I know a bit about this, but like, tell me more about your background. It's obvious how you got into this, but you've had some successes in the past as well. Tell us more.
Yeah, so I started my career as a product designer, UX designer, and then worked my way into leadership through multiple startups. Built kind of data and really kind of tech-heavy products for lots of organizations. Spent like 10 years in the airline industry, building revenue products, and the fact that people sort of have information about their flights is a big part of what my last startup was about, and multiple others. But I found myself really wanting to help my kids in their transitions and build something that I could personally benefit from. And that's what Ella was really born out of.
It's amazing. Thanks, Javen. And it just highlights how much talent we have in this space. And I feel like more and more people are attracted to it. And I love it. It's great to see it.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. We are at our last presentation of the event. So finally, Origin. Origin makes it possible for speech therapists to grow and start their own practice, handling the messy parts so they can bring in high quality in-home speech therapy to more families faster. Gabe, close us out.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm Gabe, and I'm one of the founders of Origin. I started Origin for her, my big sister, Rachel. Rachel is a speech language pathologist. And earlier last year, she actually came to me with a crazy idea. She wanted my help with my business background to launch her very own private speech therapy practice. So we did that. We stayed up late, her in Raleigh, me in another city across the US, late night on Zoom, building out her practice and going through the steps, whether that was setting up her LLC, her liability insurance, business license, EMR, bank account, HIPAA compliant Google Workspace. And in that process, I saw firsthand two things. First is how hard it is for a therapist to actually launch their practice when the thing they love, the thing that gives them energy is focusing on the therapy. And the second thing too is I saw the quality of life change that my sister had. She started with her practice earning 50% more and simultaneously working 50% less by being her own practice owner. I saw this firsthand and decided to replicate that for other therapists beyond just my sister. For some context, childhood development in the US is a massive issue. As I'm sure all of you guys know, Some of the stats that we're seeing today are that 1 in 4 kids post-COVID are facing developmental challenges, which by some estimates that we're seeing can represent about a $40 billion problem today in the US alone. And for those 1 in 4 kids, ask any parent, ask any doctor, what they will tell you is that the best way to treat them, the best way is therapy in their own home. It's more effective for kids and it's more convenient for families as well. The other options just fall short. Telehealth works great for adults with mental health concerns. As I'm sure a lot of you have seen, it does not work well for young children with developmental challenges. Office visits are inconvenient for family. The schools are underfunded. It's simply slammed. The other options just fall short. But the catch, even though in-home therapy is the gold standard, is the best, it's never been possible at scale. That's because of the economics on the provider side. And this is what I saw firsthand with my sister. It just takes an inordinate number of unpaid administrative hours to run an in-home private practice. Between notes, billing, insurance checks, and then adding on schedule coordination and travel, therapists can easily spend 15 to 25 unpaid admin hours per week. What happens is that scale tips with the number of unpaid hours, and ultimately the hourly rates no longer make sense going into the home. This is the key friction that we've identified, and this is what we're solving with Origin. We're Origin. We help pediatric therapists launch their own private practices that for the first time are economically viable going into the homes. And how we do that is with AI. We make in-home therapy economically viable with an army of AI agents automating every aspect of the back office, from notes to scheduling to billing, in order to half the amount of time therapists are spending on back office work and effectively doubling their hourly rates, which can finally tip that scale back to where the economics actually make sense going home. I know this is a great thesis. This sounds great in theory, but we're actually seeing this in reality. Since we launched in June in one targeted area in Northern Virginia, we've been doubling every month, 8xing in the last couple of months, and are excited to announce that we officially closed on a fundraising round, which is getting announced on Monday. We started incredibly niche down, launching speech therapy practices in the DC suburbs of Northern Virginia, but this is just the beginning. We plan to expand into occupational and physical therapy with this new round, and additionally expand geographically our scope to power the future of pediatric health. So I ask for you, as we've closed this round, we're hiring. Please email me, connect with us on LinkedIn. We're hiring for a founding engineer and a founding operations lead based in San Francisco. If you know of people that you think might be interested, I'd welcome introductions. Thanks so much.
Great job, Gabe. Way to close us out strong. Lauren, questions?
Great job, Gabe. And I know a lot of building has gone into it, and there's much more to come, but you've done such an incredible job. I guess my question for you is, how have you thought about kind of working with existing EMRs? I know this is for individual therapist practices, but is that something you're kind of running up against that you see kind of just building separately outside of those? Or I guess where do those kind of fit into your plan?
Great question. One of the decisions we had to make early on was how we wanted to handle the EMR system. Philosophically, how we think about product is coming back to our North Star of my relationship with my sister. What my sister wanted was to focus on the therapy, and she didn't want to deal with anything else. So our North Star is being everything but the therapy for therapists. And as part of that, which is a fun job, by the way, as a startup, doing everything for these back offices. As part of that, we've built the belief that it is important for us to build our own EMR. And so as part of that, that's leading to the founding engineer hire as well. We'd be building our own EMR to actually be the best in class in this space.
Great. Thank you.
That's great. Really well done, Gabe. And I know we can't talk about the traction, but just seeing it has been unreal. Like I've been excited to just watch how fast this thing has grown. I think you mentioned it at the end, but it seems like, what's the growth potential for this? There's all sorts of other sort of occupations you can go into with this. Like, yeah, share a little bit more about that.
Totally. So we started, as I mentioned, incredibly niche down. We have 20 speech therapy practices that we've launched in Northern Virginia, but we're seeing such a high degree of overlap and comorbidity between these for these kiddos. So, for instance, about 40% of our kids that need speech also need occupational and physical therapy. And so we're constantly getting referrals across the therapist spectrum as well. And so there's a clear path to adding occupational and physical therapy within this market and actually serving the same patients who have the same needs with other kinds of treatments.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, it does. It just seems like there's so much opportunity here. Um, awesome. Very well done, Gabe. Good job. All right. That is all of the companies. We did all nine. A huge round of applause virtually, of course, to all of our founders. Man, what an amazing showcase. Truly, that was incredible. Um, and before we close out, I'd actually like to bring Lauren back up if you're able to. We've just seen nine companies across communication, education, sleep, family tools, all of them focused on autism and neurodiversity. I'd love to hear like what stood out to you, any reflections on autism tech in general and where the space is heading. Yeah, any takeaways?
Yeah, well, thank you again to all of you who presented. It was incredible. And my biggest takeaway really is a trend I've been seeing recently that really excites and inspires me, which is that people really are thinking about kind of the full continuum of care for individuals with autism and really thinking about kind of the full holistic ecosystem, right? It's not just, historically we've seen just this singular focus on one kind of specific need. But people are really thinking, across whether it's sleep, whether it's, for therapists setting up their own practices to the day-to-day outside of therapy. And I think that is what's so important, right? It's not these moments in time, but it's the day-to-day life of individuals and seeing you all and founders really thinking about all those specific and all those kind of full needs of the community is incredible. The only other thing I'll kind of touch on, and I'll be brief, but really echoing what Dan said, talking about the ecosystem and the investment landscape at large. Historically, we really have seen, and I'm sorry, I didn't give y'all a lot of context on AIF, but Autism Impact Fund, we invest all in companies that are serving in the autism community, and we're typically Series A to C. And historically, we've really seen the incredible work that Dan and Multiple is doing for the early stage companies, and then we'll kind of come in after that. But it has historically kind of fallen off as investors interested in putting money into the space. But I'm very optimistic as I am finally seeing whether it's growth equity, private equity, or even some of these larger healthcare systems see the importance and the need to really invest in and work specifically within the autism community. So keep doing what you're doing, and I'm thrilled that you will no longer fall off a cliff with investment.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here, Lauren, and thanks for that context too. Yeah, we agree. There's infrastructure that needs to get built, especially on the capital side, to help keep fueling much of the innovation that's happening. I know AIF is one of the leaders in that, so really appreciate you being a supporter and joining us today.
Well, thank you for all the work y'all are doing.
Of course, of course. Okay, we're almost at time, and we're managing the clock quite well. So I'll pat myself on the back. No, I'm kidding. It was really the founders. You guys did a really nice, tight job. We've got one more fun piece to cover. Okay, so don't fall off quite yet. First, though, a huge thank you to the founders. Just if I haven't said it enough, the work you're doing and the courage it takes to build in this space, like, yeah, all of the kudos go to you. This day is about you. It's fantastic seeing all of the progress you've made. Thank you again to Lauren. Really appreciate your questions and willingness to be here with us today. And then a huge thank you to everybody in the audience. You spent the time with us today, and it's a signal that autism and neurodiversity innovation belongs on a stage like this, and we're only going to keep growing it. So your support genuinely is the lifeblood of what keeps this thing going. Now, you heard from Dan earlier about this little thing called the Founding 50. And it's one of the ways that we're trying to sort of honor all of the supporters who've kind of been with us from the beginning and who want to join in on this. And so my plug here is that we would love any more people to join that. And what it is, it's a group of families and allies who are helping fund our work. And some of the things our members get are, a curated access to tools, apps, services tailored to the loved ones in their lives, invites to private events, roundtables, research, things like that, and even a vote at our private demo day, which happened yesterday, where they get to select a founder to receive a special grant to help scale their work. So if that resonates with any of you, and if you're watching thinking, wow, I want to be closer to this work, I want to help pull this future forward, we'd love to talk. And I believe there's more information on that in the landing page that Kate has been sending in the chat. Okay, for the fun piece. So yesterday was the private demo day with our founding 50, and they voted on a $5,000 award to one of the startups that just presented. And yeah, just another reason for you to join. You get to be a part of that. So this is the moment where I would love a drum roll. It won't work virtually, or maybe some cool suspense music. But the winner of this year's multiple demo day award is Connor Herman with Percy. Connor, huge congrats. Would you like to say a few words?
Cried 4 times in front of you, Kevin.
We can make it 5. It's okay.
I've been working on this problem for 20 years. And I wanted to get into this cohort so bad because I know that solving it through autism is going to change the world. And I really, really appreciate that you agree and that that this is going to speak to everybody else, that we're on the right track and that we need to build this product. So thank you so much. Thank you to the judges and the panelists and all of the other founders who have helped me develop this company. It's been tremendous change since we started this cohort. Every single week, we've made so much progress, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. So thank you.
Thank you, Connor. You're building something really special, and when people hear about it, there's just an immediate, it's magnetic. They just get drawn to it. So you're doing all the right things, and it was an honor getting to work with you and to keep working with you after this. All right. What a great way to end that. Beautiful, Connor, really. So for anyone who wants to stay connected, we're going to send a follow-up email with all the links to every company, ways to contact them, ways to get connected to Multiple and the Founding 50. So thank you, everyone, for being here, believing in autism and neurodiversity innovation, and giving it a home where we can showcase all of this. So on behalf of Multiple, the founders, thank you, and we will see you all very, very soon. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.